And this guy needs very little introduction, although you never played for the Flames. Never played for the Flames. This is Trevor Linden, played 20 years in the NHL. We know him mostly as a Vancouver Canuck. We're not going to hold that against you here in the city of Calgary.
I do have some Alberta roots, though,
oh,
right?
You do, that's right.
Exactly.
Medicine
I'm an
Hat
Alberta
guy.
boy, so
Medicine Hat guy,
exactly.
that's right. You played for the Tigers, too, didn't you?
I did. I was a hometown, born and raised in Medicine Hat, played for the Tigers. So,
and didn't you idolize Lanny McDonald?
Lanny was a big thing in Medicine Hat. He was there kind of 71, 2, 3, and I was young, but he was always a legend there. So
there you go.
Lanny was a big idol of mine, and certainly when he came back to Calgary in, I think, 81, I mean, that cemented that. So
no kidding, right?
Yeah,
you would have been about 11 about that time, right?
I was, and I was a Flames fan back in the day. Obviously, those Oiler Flames days, I was always rooting for, the Lanny McDonalds and that crew. Yeah, for sure.
Trevor is now the president of the Vancouver Canucks. We originally booked you to come on the show to talk about a product that we're going to talk about in the 7 o'clock hour for weekend warrior athletes like yours truly, trying to stay pain-free. But we wanted to talk a little hockey, and you said right off the get-go that Peter Marr retiring for you was quite significant.
Yeah, Peter's just such a gentleman. And I think the one thing that you realize is that the voices of Peter, or whether it be Jim Robson, they connect people. That's their conduit to hockey.
Instantly,
and,
right?
They hear that voice and they think Calgary Flames hockey or Vancouver Canuck hockey. So I've known Peter for years, and always, whenever I see him in the rinks when I play, I'd always love to catch up with him and chat with him.
Nice.
He's just such a gentleman, and he'll be missed.
And he really gets to know the players, right?
Yeah.
Like, he really gets to know you guys.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that's just very easy to talk to. He's very unassuming, and so he's a real gentleman. And he always had a great rapport with players, whether they, regardless of which team they were on.
Sure, exactly. Visiting or home team,
exactly,
right? It didn't matter.
Exactly.
Let's talk Vancouver Canucks hockey. There are quite a few Vancouver Canuck fans in the city of Calgary. They're allowed to be here. And one of your key players, I know, as you guys look to rebuild now, because you're not in the playoffs this year, one of your key players, Daniel Sedin, went down with an injury. How is he doing at this point in the offseason?
Yeah, you know what? It was a scary situation with Daniel. I mean, he'd been battling kind of, some neck and shoulder issues, and essentially what happened was he got basically a stinger down his through his neck.
The hit didn't look that.
I agree. It wasn't. I mean, you see a lot worse than that. But he basically had numbness down his hands, and so he actually wasn't concussed, which is a good thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it was a scary situation when you lose feeling in your hands and stuff. So, but he's doing well. He's fine.
And he's one of the superstars too, right? I mean,
he's not only a big part of our team on the ice. He's a brilliant player, but he's a real contributor to the community and a big part of our team. So we need him to bounce back next year. It was a tough year for both him and Henrik. Yeah. And they are kind of the engine that makes our team go. Yeah,
no kidding. Speaking of which, you guys are in kind of rebuild mode. You were named president in April, I believe. The draft is coming up. Are you going to be involved heavily in that? Or?
Absolutely. So preparations have started now, and obviously we're picking 6. We haven't picked that high since we drafted Daniel and Henrik. So it's imperative that we do our homework as any team. I mean, these types of selections can really make a huge difference to your organization moving forward. So lots of work to do. Obviously, as Brian has gone through here, general manager needs to be hired in Vancouver, and that process has started.
All right, good for you. Brad Treliving, by the way, is coming up on the show during the 7 o'clock hour. We're going to pick his brain. And before we move on in the show, I just have to ask you, the rivalry between Calgary and Vancouver, you guys as an organization must capitalize on that as well, right?
Oh, I think just the atmosphere and the buzz in the rink. I think these regional rivalries are terrific. I mean, there's so much great history between Vancouver and Calgary, and Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. So it's always it's been a tough year, I think, for the 3 teams, obviously, and there's obviously better times to come, but it's never a dull moment when Calgary plays Edmonton.
There you go. There you go. And of course, our Vancouver Canucks as well are mixed in the midst. We're going to have more with Trevor Linden around the corner.